Illegal is a verb. Human is a noun. And I'm going to talk to you as we get into this Matriarch Emerges movement about words. And before we begin, let me set the record straight. The word illegal was never meant to be a name, and the moment you slap that word on a human being, you stop seeing a soul and start seeing a statistic. That's not truth. That's not moral. That's the language of a mind that's forgotten its own humanity. You see, in psychology, they call it de-individuation. That's when you strip away identity and turn a person into a category. It's what soldiers do in war, what propaganda does on television, and what every oppressive empire has done before it raised its hand to strike. If you call someone illegal, you can justify almost everything that follows. Not because it's right, but because the language makes your conscience go numb. Language is spell work. Ask any anthropologist, ask any witch, ask any linguistic worth their salt. Words shape worlds. Words shape laws. Words shape how you treat the stranger at your gate. And the moment you call a person a crime, you're not speaking English. You're speaking fucking fear, you coward. So let's take a trip to the Bible, since some of you weaponize it like a shield but never actually open the fucking thing. Turn to Leviticus 19:34. The stranger who dwells with you shall be to you as one born among you. You shall love them as yourself. Funny how Christians skip that lesson when they learn how to scream illegal, as if God himself was filing paperwork at the fucking borders. How about Exodus 22:21? Do not oppress a foreigner. You yourselves were foreigners in Egypt. So unless you're indigenous, you are the descendants of strangers, immigrants, and refugees. You stand on land that your ancestors entered without permission. And yet you have the audacity to treat the next traveler like a crime scene? And Yeshua? Jesus? Jesus didn't mince words. Matthew 25:35. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Not I was a stranger and you checked my papers. Not I was a stranger and you dehumanized me. Not I was a stranger and you called me illegal. Welcome me. That was the doctrine. But somewhere along the line, compassion got replaced with conservative talking points. Do you think your mother would be proud of the way you love other human beings as Jesus that she loved? All right, fuck that. Let's swing back into psychology. Because ignorance like this, it doesn't come from evil. It comes from something more embarrassing, cognitive laziness. People who say illegals are not strong. They are not bold. They are not patriotic. They're just refusing to do some mental work of understanding complexity, right? Because God forbid it's complex. They want a simple word where everything fits into two-syllable insults, because nuance requires effort, and effort exposes where you lack curiosity. Your lack of curiosity exposes where you lack heart. But here's the real kicker. Calling people illegals is a linguistic fallacy called reification. Treating an action like it's an identity. Speeding is illegal. Littering is illegal. Jumping a turnstile is illegal. But you don't call your uncle a speedings. You don't call your cousin a litters, because you respect them enough to see them as more than a mistake they made. So why is your compassion suddenly out of reach when the person has an accent or brown skin? Here's why. Because people fear what reminds them of their own history. Immigrants remind Americans of their own ancestors, of their own flight, their own trauma, of the fact that this country was built by the very people they now demonize. So instead of facing the mirror, they point fingers. Instead of saying, there goes a person like me, they say, there goes an illegal. Small minds need scapegoats. Brave minds need truth. So pick your side. And let's be real. Nobody, and I mean fucking nobody, leaves their homeland unless their staying is more dangerous than running. War, famine, cartel, political violence, climate collapse, corruption, persecution. These are not choices. They are survival instincts. So when you reduce that to illegals or alien, you're not talking morality. You're talking about your inability to empathize and be empathetic. So here's my decree with my degrees from a goddess's lens, from an anthropological, a psychological lens, from a historical lens, now telling you her story. The moment you call a person a crime, you confess your own moral failure. You reveal your own emotional stunting. Humanity isn't measured by who you defend when it's easy. It's measured by who you refuse to dehumanize when the world tells you to hate. So hear me clearly. You can enforce laws without erasing souls. You can protect borders without killing empathy. And you can seek order without sacrificing your fucking integrity. But if your vocabulary starts with illegals, your compassion ended long before that word came out of your fucking mouth. Human is the noun. Illegal is the verb. Choose your language wisely because your soul is speaking through it. And the goddess is fucking listening.